Good evening, you're watching The Big Question. I'm Sanjana. This is a discussion that has been hot and engaging for many months now. India is at the cusp of a pharmaceutical shift. With Novo Nordisk launching Wegovy and drugs like Ozempic and Mounjaro already making waves, we're entering an era where weight loss can now come in a weekly injection. That's right. Originally designed for type 2 diabetics, these GLP-1 drugs are now being used widely by non-diabetics, celebrities, tech CEOs, even everyday professionals like you and me are seeking rapid fat loss. And their rise is reshaping everything. Pharma stock valuations, healthcare ethics, and public perception of weight and wellness. So on the one hand, these drugs have proven to help patients lose up to 24% of their body weight. On the other, there are growing concerns about misuse, side effects, and whether we're normalizing a shortcut culture in health. But the impact goes beyond medicine. Global pharmaceutical giants are racing to grab market share in what's projected to be a $100 billion industry. Indian investors are watching Novo Nordisk and Eli Lilly stock soar. Fitness chains, diet apps, and nutraceutical brands are preparing for disruption, while insurers grapple with how to classify and cover this new class of drugs. But what does this mean for India? A country where obesity, stigma, and health costs intersect in deeply complex ways. Are we moving towards a future where weight loss comes in a weekly injection? So tonight we're asking, are weight loss drugs a medical revolution or a lifestyle crutch? Should they be celebrated for fighting obesity or questioned for encouraging misuse? And what happens when the definition of need becomes a matter of personal choice? Let's debate responsibly and with science at hand. Joining us for this very crucial discussion, I have Dr. Shikha Sharma, founder of One Health, a renowned nutritionist who's raised concerns about non-diabetics using these drugs. Dr. Dilip Bhansali, national president of the Indian Medical Association, who argues, Dr. Bhanushali has argued in the past that we must tread with caution, especially outside of clinical use. Ryan Fernando, celebrity nutritionist and founder of Qua Nutrition, who sees potential in the drugs but only with careful case-wise assessment. And Dr. Sanjay Kalra, endocrinologist and vice president of the South Asian Obesity Forum, who believes that these drugs can be safe and effective even for non-diabetics under supervision. Dr. Kalra, I'm going to come to you first. Wegovy results are being called a game changer, not just for diabetes, but obesity itself. Can you help us understand the science here? Why do these drugs work so well for weight loss? And why are some doctors, if I can say like yourself, open to, prescribing them to non-diabetic patients?
Thanks a lot, Sanjana. This is really important. So before we go into this question, first let's understand what disease and health means.
Okay.
Health means a state of not just good biomedical health, but also emotional, psychological, social health. And then we need to add to this definition, it should be sustained health. If today I feel that I'm healthy, that's not enough. If I continue on the same trajectory, the same path, I should remain healthy tomorrow and day after as well. This is what health means. Now we have challenges to our health. It may have been smallpox in the past, polio in the past, and recently other viral infections. But now obesity has emerged as a major public health problem. I may say that today I'm obese, I have heavy body weight, but I'm healthy, I don't have any other problems. But the thing is that medical research shows us that if I continue on the same path, sooner or later, I will develop complications of obesity. When should I begin fighting them? Should I begin fighting them after I've got complications, after I've got disease and dysfunction, or before that? This is a question. Another question is, in general, in medicine and in health, in life, we want linear or binary equations. So, for example, your thyroid is high, you take a tablet which brings the TSH down. Obesity does not follow this Newtonian pathway, this linear pathway. Obesity follows the pathway of quantum physics. So multiple factors leading to obesity. Let's try to make it simple. We have something called the biopsychosocial model of health. So biology defines my body weight. B for biology, so B for my brain and B for my bowel, my stomach, my gut. They speak to each other through hormones. If they speak to each other and listen to each other properly, body weight remains in balance. Apart from these two B's, the bowel and the brain, I also have my beta cell and then my bulk, that is my adipose tissue or fat. These also secrete hormones like insulin, like leptin, which talk to each other. If there is a disturbance between these four B's, the bowel, the brain, the beta cell, and the bulk, we end up with obesity. And once we develop obesity, it's a vicious cycle. It keeps on worsening. The first treatment is always going to be lifestyle modification, a 500 calorie deficit diet, physical activity, exercise, stress management, avoiding substance abuse. But usually that alone is not enough. Even if it is enough, it is not sustainable. And that's why we need to manage obesity. We need to manage obesity because sooner or later it is going to cause complications. And if at all there is an economic aspect to it, the cost of obesity, uncontrolled obesity, unmanaged obesity, is much higher than the cost of managing obesity.
Okay, thanks so much for that and for explaining that so succinctly. Dr. Sharma, you've long argued that weight is not just a number on a scale, but about lifestyle. Like Dr. Kalra rightly said, it's about lifestyle, hormone health, and long-term habits. So what's your biggest concern with these drugs becoming mainstream for fat loss, especially among young people and women?
So three things I would like to say. This whole thing about using drugs for weight loss is not new. It started in the 1950s. So initially it was called rainbow pills. That means it was a laxative, there was a diuretic, there was an amphetamine. Then amphetamines were used. Then fenfluramine was used. All of them had various side effects, right from severe dehydration to actually cardiac arrest. And after a spate of use, most of these drugs, because of the serious side effects in the communities, had to be legally withdrawn by the companies themselves because of the rapid deaths they were causing on long-term use and widespread use. So what I'm saying is it's not new something that today there is a new miracle drug which is being launched. This has been continuous effort from 1940s and are launched. Some are addictive, some cause cardiac arrest, some cause pulmonary hypertension, and eventually they have to be removed from the market.
Okay.
Having said that, the first thing I'm telling you, I worked as a doctor in my initial years. So when a patient with high blood pressure comes, we give drugs to get the blood pressure immediately down. But we do not tell the patient that now the only way to reduce your blood pressure is to keep taking this particular drug which we used in the emergency, because that's an emergency drug. It's for a case which is going to become fatal if we don't reduce the blood pressure. So my big point is obesity is not an emergency. It is something which has to be reduced systematically and in a manner which is safe for the patient. I can understand a hypertensive coming into an emergency and you don't have time. You have to reduce the BP. But if some overweight person comes today in the OPD, I don't have to reduce his weight tomorrow. I can give time, I can give a proper nutrition plan and get the weight down. Again, having said that, obesity is because of bad nutrition. How much, suppose we are giving a drug, any drug, and it is reducing your appetite. You already have a bad eating habit. Now you're eating less of the bad food. So yes, you lose weight, but you're also losing your hair. You're also losing your power to heal your liver, your power to heal your lungs, your power to heal your skin, which means what? Accelerated aging. Anybody who's just eating less and not eating right is not getting all the nutrition, but simply eating less and eating less of the bad food. So what I'm saying is people are becoming obese because of wrong diets, bad diets, not just eating more. So what we are doing with these drugs is we are just forcing the body to eat less, but eat less of what? Bad food, nutritionally depleted food. That means the recovery, rejuvenation, and healing of the body will stop. The person will go into accelerated aging, at worst, at best, and at worst, they can have cardiac problems. In fact, even with these drugs, the known problems are that people get GI problems, and in worst cases, then can actually get pancreatitis, or leading to even more severe problem, which could lead them into an emergency. So I don't understand the rationale of treating obesity, which is basically wrong food choices, by giving a drug which just pushes the patient not to eat at all or eat very, very little. So there is no logic in my mind. Nutrition is the only way a person can actually sustainably, responsibly, and healthfully knock off weight for good. All other things, I would say, are a stopgap arrangement, and the patient has to be trained, taught, and counseled to do the right thing.
Okay, okay. Interesting perspective, Dr. Sharma. Dr. Bhanushali back with us. In India, we're already facing a little bit of a trust deficit, I think, when it comes to medication, when it comes to long-term safety. So from the IMA's perspective, what is your primary concern with prescribing GLP-1s like Wegovy or to non-diabetic individuals? Is it the ethics? Is it the clinical safety? Or would you say it's the lack of guidelines?
Thank you for getting me and warm greetings from Indian Medical Association. We have a great panel here who's been discussing about G1P. I may role in this is I may always say that we should do an ethical practice. So this drug, if there are some indications, if patients have, say, obesity with diabetes or he has other comorbidities, yes, it has definitely a role. So, but just for reducing your weight or just for cosmetic reason, if you are using it, is no. So I may wants to convey this message very properly, not only to the patients, but to the practitioners and doctors in general also.
Okay. Ryan, you work with elite athletes, actors, CEOs, people who often do not have the time and, of course, seek fast and efficient solutions. From your experience, when does it then make sense to use these drugs, and when does it become a shortcut that backfires?
So Sanjana, just to correct right from the beginning, these drugs that are being coming in should be advised only by the doctors. Specifically over here, Dr. Sanjay, who's an endocrinologist. When these actors and celebrities come to people like me who are nutrition coaches and health coaches, Dr. Shikha Sharma has pointed out absolutely the right thing. Everyone wants a quick fix pill and the food never changes. So psychological behavior is I will get a quick fix from the pill. There are side effects. So did you know that the GLP receptors, which is all of these drugs are based on, in boosting it with whey protein, with just 17 grams, it goes up by 141%. And with methi seeds, that is fenugreek, we get a 40-fold increase in the receptor. Nutrition works, Sanjana. The problem is we live in this quick culture where we want a pill and the side effects are bad. In fact, the other day I had the wife of one of the CMs call me up and says, what's your opinion on this? Everyone seems to be taking it. All the celebrities are taking it. The celebrities who are taking it, I'm sure they're taking it under the advice of their doctor and endocrinologist. Number one. Number two, when you have a BMI over 30 to 40, then you're looking at what Prime Minister said, motapa. And what did he say? He didn't say take a drug. He said reduce your oil by 10%. The parents in India right now at fault. We are not teaching our children to eat at home with love and culture. We're ordering food from out. The quality of oil in food. Oil stumps the GLP-1 receptor. High fat, which is bad fat, kills the receptors. High sugar kills the receptors. Stress kills the receptors. And no exercise. One of the biggest indicators for GLP production to increase is exercise. So we are having a lazy generation, quick fix pill that people want. And no, I do not endorse this unless a person has all-cause mortality, meaning they have diabetes, hypertension, obesity, and the doctors here on this panel say, oh my God, I don't think these people can change their diet and exercise. They are gone case. But for the rest of India, you first have to do 1 year on a nutrition and an exercise plan. You will lose fat, your GLP will improve, your insulin will come down, your sugar will improve, your BP will improve. People are just too lazy in our country to get this. They want the fix. And by the way, Dr. Shikha said correctly, there have always been weight loss drugs coming in. There's always a pharma push, and many doctors do not have the ethics to prescribe it properly, because they face the pressure from their client. Doctor, मेरे को दे दो ना, 6 महीने के लिए दे दो. But has the client actually done the workouts? And to defend all my celebrity clients that have worked with me, most of them do kick-ass workouts, crazy workouts, and have a very controlled nutrition plan. And that is where within 90 to 120 days, you will begin to see results. Most people want 15 kgs in 15 days. That is irrational. That is no awareness on how it needs to be done. And unfortunately, doctors are not specialists in nutrition and exercise. Neither do they have a time in a consultation room because of the pressure they face with such a large population. So India is not willing to spend on nutritionists and health coaches and gym trainers, and hence we have this problem.
Okay, okay. Great perspective there. And Dr. Kalra, would you then say that there is a risk that, like Ryan rightly pointed out, and we heard from Dr. Shikha as well, that this also becomes a lifestyle drug for the rich? Because if I can ask my producer to just put the prices up on the screen, because while access for genuinely obese or diabetic patients are getting squeezed.
So pharma equity has been an issue everywhere, not only for weight loss drugs, but for everything, whether it is antibiotics or insulin, any kind of drug that you see. But let us reiterate, obesity is a major public health problem. The first line therapy for obesity is intensive behavioral therapy. You need to change your behavior, like Dr. Shikha said. Along with intensive behavioral therapy, you need diet and exercise. That is first line therapy. If it doesn't work, then you need medication. And then, like the IMA rightly says, our regulators say that these drugs can be prescribed only by a specialist in internal medicine or by a specialist in endocrinology. The specialist in endocrinology is trained to look at the causes of obesity, to see whether it is nutrition alone or other things. This would be wrong in today's world to say that bad nutrition is the only cause of obesity. It is one of the causes. There are so many hormonal disturbances which lead to obesity, which lead to weight imbalance. All those must be factored in. Apart from that, there are psychological and social factors as well. It's not just nutrition alone. So if you are in the hands of a qualified and experienced caregiver, these drugs are safe to use. But diet and exercise will continue to be required. You will need resistance exercise. You will need high protein diet. Now, coming to the cutoffs, can we give this to everyone who is obese? The cutoffs are quite clear. In India, the definition of overweight is a BMI more than 23. Obesity, a BMI more than 27. These drugs are actually more useful. They are more effective in people without diabetes. But our thresholds are different. Somebody coming in with diabetes and heavy weight, I would begin the drug at a BMI of 27. But somebody coming in with overweight, obesity, without diabetes, then I would keep my threshold of 30, a BMI of 30. So this is not a drug for primary prevention. It is not a part of lifestyle, but certainly it is a part of metabolic hygiene for those who need it. So if you are overweight and obese, if you have diabetes and your BMI is 27, this is a good drug to use, but you will have to do diet and exercise along with that. If you are overweight or obese alone, BMI is 30, even if you do not have diabetes, we must use the drug because sooner or later you will develop other complications. These complications, Sanjana, are not limited just to diabetes. The entire heart failure is associated with obesity. Obstructive sleep apnea, difficulty in sleeping, difficulty in breathing, snoring, this is associated with obesity. Even osteoarthritis, our knee joints, the heavier you are, the more your knee joints suffer. So osteoarthritis can be managed by losing weight. And there are multiple issues. So that is why now we have a definition of clinical obesity, where there are 18 conditions in adults, 11 conditions in adolescents, which are directly linked with overweight and obesity, and which need to be managed and better prevented. And these drugs are one of the ways of using them. But I will reinforce again, you need a qualified practitioner to help you out. And you also need diet and exercise continuously. It will be part and parcel of your lifestyle. Treat these drugs as part of metabolic hygiene.
Kalra, laying it out very clearly that there is a need for diet and exercise, and I think that's also something that a lot of people don't understand because they imagine that, thin culture is just a step away or a shot away. And a need for these weight loss drugs because of the behavioral changes in diet and exercise alone have not proven to be successful in reducing weight in all cases. Then, Dr. Shikha, do you think India's health system with its gaps in long-term nutrition and mental health support is even ready to safely handle something like GLP-1 use?
See, I personally feel that when we talk about India and we talk about a drug where one dose is 5,000 rupees, we are
Sure.
obviously, it's a paradoxical thing. We are not talking about India. We are talking about 0.001% of the super elite in India who will be using this drug. So it's not a problem of India which we are solving. It's a problem of the super elite we are. One of the biggest reasons why a lot of people don't go into nutrition is not only about behavior, it's all about the whole mindset of will my insurance cover it? Now, insurance is covering certain sectors, certain sections, but unfortunately, insurance is not covering nutrition and nutrition, which actually can lead to a multi pronged approach to not only control one disease, it will control many diseases. So, that is one point. Second thing is, you are absolutely right. In our school education system, there is not even one chapter of healthy nutrition which is taught across the classes. So it so the way we are casual or neglecting nutrition education and healthy and how to keep a healthy body education is reflecting in our masses. It is a shortcoming of our curriculum. So our curriculum designers have to understand that nutrition health has to be part and parcel of every batch, every class in all the schools, government, private, whatever. If you really look at Japan, Japan is a developed country, but it is not suffering the way US and other countries in Europe and Middle East are suffering. Why? Because very early they recognized that in school education, if you put the right things, you get better citizens. So it is a systemic problem also. Similarly, I would say when we look at our entire food industry, the amount of chemicals entering from the food industry is 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 mind-boggling. So I would differ from Dr. Kalra saying it's not a nutrition problem alone. It has become multiple problems because of the chemical influx into our food chain through the industries who are using tons of chemicals, not only in processing, refining, but also in packaging. So what we need to do is we need to look at the ecosystem. We need to bring systemic changes because this, even if suppose every person who's super elite starts using it, India will still die of obesity and its related problems because the rest of India cannot afford this.
Okay, okay. Dr. Bhanushali, given India's enforcement or sometimes lack thereof around prescription drugs, do you worry that this will become another unregulated wellness trend, like over-the-counter steroids, or even what we're seeing right now with protein misuse? Could that be a possibility?
I don't think so. I don't think it can't be. It can't be. I did, yes, I agree with our nutritionist what he says. See, it's not only with the drugs. The lifestyle management is very important in any day, especially in diabetes. So, lifestyle management with this newer drugs, where it is indicated, is the right way to go ahead.
Okay. Ryan, then would you say that aren't we at a risk then of glamorizing injections, right? There's no other way to say it. Over food, over sleep, over movement, and reinforcing body image issues that are already pretty deep in pop culture the world over.
Sanjana, yes, I agree because everyone wants a quick fix today. And I think the responsibility lies over here with policymakers and people like Dr. Dilip and Dr. Sanjay to hammer the message in because the glamorization of injections, trust me, India is a country of jugaad. You are going to get your pharmacy dealers getting this out even without a doctor's prescription. And as Dr. Shikha Sharma said, it is a 0.001% of India who is elite, where we serve with diet plans. But what needs to be understood is that these medications are required for those who are morbidly obese and have no other avenue left, where it is genetic or hormonal. But again, I recently endorsed a product which was from the natural side towards GLP enhancement, which chicory root, chromium picolinate, which is a mineral, and some probiotics. Now, why did I do this? Because Big Pharma is going to push their drug. We had a drug many years ago called Olestra. It came in and was marketed with the same gusto, and then it disappeared because people were having leaky stools, people were having side effects. So, who's going to pay this side effect bill? It's the rich of India because they are looking to glamorize their looks. And I blame many celebrities out there for looking lean too fast, too quick, which means everyone's guessing that did this person or did these people take these drugs? And then there's a grapevine in the Bollywood industry, like so and so's taking, that one is taking, but none of the doctors are saying they're prescribing it. So who's giving it to these celebrities? So my question is, there is a lot of indirect marketing push. The people who are responsible to prescribe this are the doctors. Patients need to work with their doctors, and you can't go once to your doctor and say, doctor, mere ko Ozempic de do. You have to work with your doctor on internal medicine, endocrinology, look at all the factors, consider diet, consider exercise. We have become a lazy culture. Half of India doesn't work out. Half of India is on the phone. And therefore, the culture of workout doesn't exist. We order with our e-commerce apps. Today, healthy families, whether poor or rich, are ordering online. You get all values of idli sambar from 15 rupees up to 1500 rupees online.
Right.
There is no perspective of how food is being fed to our country. So I believe that the surgeon's warning that is there on cigarette packets needs to start coming on our food products to warn people that you are eating too much. The human race is eating too much and we are moving too little. And I think doctors need to start like old days now, make their patients catch their ears and do some bitux and say, I will not eat that gulab jamun, I will not eat that rasgulla. Pleasure is too easy on the taste bud and injections are too easy on the backside.
So Ryan, let me ask you this then. How do you counsel high-performing clients about the trade-offs between medical interventions and then sustainable lifestyle changes? I'm not getting that free advice on national TV, but just trying to understand from a behavior change perspective, what is it that you say to your clients?
First simple thing, buy the weighing scale which tells you your fat percentage. Okay, so then when you start walking 10,000 steps a day, you'll start seeing your weight and fat percentage coming down. Number one, the thing is people don't have patience. Number two, you have always eaten out of love and culture, which means your parents have fed you. And then your better half, or you go through life with no scientific aspect to your diet. Very few Indians, which are only the sports people and the film stars, measure the calorie requirement of what they need to eat every day and hold themselves accountable to that portion or calorie. Otherwise, everybody's eating with abandon, 3 meals a day, no movement. So I convince the persons with the weighing scale, with the blood assessment, and if anyone has a BMI below 25, you have to be too vain to take an injection, too lazy to take this injection. Anyone who's above 25 BMI, some of my best friends are endocrinologists. I will look for the thyroid issue. I will look for any hormonal issues, and then I'll say, please go meet my thyroid, please go meet my endocrinologist friend, and let's get him to see whether you require a prescription. That way, we work with diet, exercise, and drug. There is a requirement. But as Dr. Shikha Sharma said, this has been designed for the elite at 20, 30 grand per pop. And an average nutrition plan is 3,000 to 5,000 rupees a month. An average trainer will cost you 5,000 to 7,000 rupees a month at the low end. Get these two people, the nutritionist and the trainer, to jab you, not with an injection, but with a little bit of motivation.
A lot of, absolutely. Next time we'll put up the cost between that as well. But thank you so much to all my panelists this evening. Thank you for that very, very straightforward and of course comprehensive insight on a topic that everybody seems to be talking about. We've heard compelling arguments this evening, from science to ethics, from patient responsibility to pharma power. Wegovy's launch in India won't just disrupt the market. It could reset how India thinks about obesity, wellness, and what we call health. But as with every so-called wonder drug, the question isn't just can it work, it's should we let it become the norm. That's a decision the medical community, regulators, and each of us will have to weigh very, very carefully. But for now, thank you so much for watching The Big Question.